Did you ever think about whale poop? Probably not, right? It sounds silly, but here's the thing. Whale poop might just be one of the most important things in the entire ocean. And the whales themselves, they are not just big animals swimming around. They are actually farmers. Huge, magnificent farmers that work every single day to make the whole planet healthier. It sounds like something from a fantasy book. Giants of the deep, tending their gardens beneath the waves. But it is real. And what these giants do is so amazing it will change the way you look at the ocean forever. Imagine a whale, not just any whale. A giant whale, bigger than a school bus, maybe bigger than a whole classroom. This whale is hungry. It opens its mouth wide and dives down into the dark blue water. Down where the sunlight barely reaches. Down where tiny creatures called krill swarm in the cold. The whale takes a gigantic gulp, scooping up millions of these little animals. Then it heads back up to the surface to breathe. And here is where the magic starts. When the whale gets to the top, it does something that seems gross but is actually wonderful. It poops. A lot. A huge floating cloud of whale waste spreads out through the water. And that cloud, it is full of magic dust. Things like iron and nitrogen. Stuff that tiny ocean plants need to grow. Now here is where the fantasy really begins. Those tiny plants are called phytoplankton. You cannot see them without a microscope, but they are everywhere. And they are some of the most important life forms on Earth. Why? Because they breathe. Just like plants on land, they take in sunlight and carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen. In fact, half of the oxygen you just breathed in came from these little guys. Every other breath comes from them. And they love whale poop. When that giant cloud of nutrients floats through the water, the phytoplankton go crazy. They feast. They multiply. They bloom into gigantic invisible forests floating on top of the ocean. And the whales made it all happen just by doing what whales do. So picture this. A whale farts and poops its way across the ocean, leaving behind a trail of invisible magic. Behind it, the water comes alive. Tiny plants explode into bloom. Little fish come to eat the plants. Bigger fish come to eat the little fish. Birds dive from the sky to join the party. The whole ocean turns into a celebration, and it all started with one whale doing its business. That is pretty fantastical if you think about it. The biggest animals on Earth are also the gardeners. They are the ones making sure everyone else has enough to eat. They are the secret kings and queens of the sea. But wait, it gets even wilder. Whales do not stay in one place. They travel. Oh boy, do they travel. Some whales swim more than 10,000 miles in a single year. That is like walking across the whole United States more than 3 times. They start in cold, icy places near the North or South Pole. They eat and eat and eat, getting nice and fat. Then they swim all the way to warm tropical waters. Why? To have babies. The warm water is safer for newborn whales. And along the whole way, they keep pooping. They are like living, breathing fertilizer trucks, carrying nutrients from one side of the planet to the other. They feed the cold oceans and the warm oceans. They feed everything in between. There is no delivery service in the world that can compete with a whale. And think about this. The ocean is huge. Most of it is like a desert. Not a sandy desert, but a desert just the same. There are places in the ocean where there is almost no food. Animals that live there have a hard time finding anything to eat. But when a whale swims through, it changes everything. Its poop is like rain falling on dry ground. Suddenly there is food. Suddenly things can grow. The whale brings life to the most empty, lonely parts of the sea. It is like a wandering garden that moves through the water, spreading seeds everywhere it goes. Now let your imagination go even further. What happens when a whale gets old? What happens when it finally dies? This is where the story gets really beautiful. When a whale dies, it does not just float away and disappear. It sinks. Down, down, down it goes, falling through the dark water for hours, maybe even a whole day. It finally lands on the bottom of the ocean, miles below the surface. Down there, it is pitch black, freezing cold. There is almost no food. The creatures that live down here are strange and wonderful. They have never seen sunlight. They glow in the dark, and they are starving. Then, out of the darkness, a whale falls from the sky. A whole mountain of food just dropped into their world. For decades, that single whale feeds an entire city of deep-sea creatures. Worms wiggle into its bones. Crabs pick at its skin. Strange fish with huge teeth come to take bites. A single whale can feed thousands of animals for 50 years or more. The whale becomes a castle, a kingdom, a whole world built around its bones, and all that carbon that was stored inside the whale. It stays trapped down there, locked away at the bottom of the sea forever. The whale gave its life to feed the deep, and then kept on giving for half a century. If that is not fantastical, nothing is. So here is the big picture. Whales are farming the ocean. They are fertilizing the water. They are making tiny plants bloom. Those plants are making half the oxygen on Earth and pulling carbon out of the air. Then the whales themselves are storing that carbon in their bodies and carrying it to the bottom of the ocean when they die. They are fighting climate change without even knowing it. They are saving the planet just by living their lives. How incredible is that? The animals we used to hunt and kill turn out to be some of the best friends the Earth ever had. But here is the sad part. People did not always know this. For a long time, humans hunted whales. They killed them by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands. They killed so many whales that some kinds almost vanished forever. Blue whales, the biggest creatures that ever lived, went from maybe 300,000 down to just a few thousand. Think about that. Imagine if someone came and took away almost all the farmers. The fields would go empty. Nothing would grow. That is what happened in the ocean. When the whales disappeared, the fertilizing stopped. The phytoplankton did not bloom as much. The whole ocean became less alive. And all that carbon that should have sunk to the bottom, it stayed in the air instead. The planet got warmer and the whales could not help. Now here is the good news. The whales are coming back. In some places, people stopped hunting them. Countries agreed to protect them. And slowly, the giants are returning.